Introduction to muscles of the neck. Collectively, the muscles of the neck are important for supporting and protecting the head and neck region, in addition to providing their movement. In total, there are three main types of neck muscle categories: anterior, lateral, and posterior. Muscles are organized into these categories based on their position, though it is also related to their function in most cases. There are many muscles that can be discussed for this reason, though more focus will be placed on the interior neck muscles for the broad exam. Superficial neck muscles. Introduction. As the name suggests, these muscles will be found in most superficial layer of the neck. Plastysma. The plastysma is a thin muscle, often referred to as the shaving muscle because its activation tenses the skin of the neck to facilitate shaving. Origin: skin fascia of superior thoracic and shoulder regions, clavicle, acromial region, pectoralis major, and deltoid muscles. Insertion. Medial fibers, lower border of the mandible and the skin of lower lip. Lateral fibers, skin of period-oral region, modulus. Action: lateral fiber contraction causes corners of mouth and lip to lower, while medial fiber contraction may depress mandible and open the mouth. Sternocleidomastoid. This muscle of the neck conveys its origin in an insertion point by its name alone. Origin: clavicular head, clavicle, medial third, sternal head, sternum manubrium. Insertion: temporal bone, mastoid process. Action: bilateral contraction, lateral neck flexion, ipsilaterally, lateral head rotation, contralaterally. Unilateral contraction, neck flexion. Innervation: spinal accessory nerve CN9, spinal nerve C2 and C3. Subclavius. This muscle is small and triangular in shape. By its name alone, its position beneath the clavicle can be inferred. Origin: first rib. Insertion: inferior aspect of clavicle, middle third. Action: stabilizes and depresses clavicle. Innervation: subclavian nerve C5 and C6. Levator scapulae. Medial scalene. Anterior scalene. Sternocleidomastoid. cleidomastoid. Sphenius. Trapezius. Clavicle. Figures the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Suprahyoid muscles. Introduction. There are two major groups of the muscles that are bordered by the hyoid bone superiorly and inferiorly, called the suprahyoid and infrahyoid muscles, respectively. There are four muscles that comprise the suprahyoid group: INBDE, protip. All muscles relating to the hyoid bone have an easy way to remember their location, group, and the general function. The prefixes of these muscles are their origin point, whereas their suffixes are their insertion points. Since you know the origin points are either above or below the hyoid bone, you now know its general categorization as the suprahyoid and infrahyoid muscles. Suprahyoid muscles generally elevate the hyoid bone and depress the mandible, whereas infrahyoid muscles generally depress the hyoid bone and larynx, which open the airway. Hyoid. The origin of this muscle is associated with the inferior tongue region. Origin: mandible inferior mental spine. Insertion: superior aspect of the body of hyoid bone. Action: may elevate hyoid bone or depress mandible. Innervation C1 via the hypoglossal nerve CN12. Mylohyoid. The floor of the mouth is predominantly formed by this muscle. Origin: mylohyoid line of mandible. Insertion: mylohyoid raphe and superior aspect of the hyoid bone. Action: elevation of the hyoid bone or depression of mandible. Innervation mandibular nerve branch CNV3. Digastric muscle. This muscle's name translates to two stomachs and bellies, which accurately describes its anatomy. Origin: anterior belly, inferior aspect of the mandible as a digastric fossa. Posterior belly, mastoid process of the temporal bone at mastoid notch. Insertion: intermediate tendon by the superior aspect of the body of the hyoid bone. Action: elevation of hyoid bone and larynx to close epiglottis and depresses mandible. Innervation: anterior belly branch of CNV3, posterior belly branch of CN7. Stylohyoid. This muscle is as thin and tubular as its bony origin point. Stylo means column or pillar. Origin: styloid process of temporal bone. Insertion: body of the hyoid bone. Action: elevates hyoid bone, retracts tongue, assist inspiration by holding pharynx open. Innervation facial nerve CN7. Suprahyoid muscle function. Geniohyoid, elevate hyoid bone or depress mandible. Innervation C1 via CN12. Mylohyoid, elevate hyoid bone and depresses mandible. CN3. Digastric, elevates hyoid bone and depresses mandible, closes epiglottis. Anterior CNV3, posterior CN7. Stylohyoid, elevates hyoid bone, retracts tongue, opens pharynx CN7. Infrahyoid muscles. Introduction: this muscle group also called the strap muscles due to their appearance. Can be found inferior to the hyoid bone. Another four muscles comprise this group. Thyroid. This muscle's prefix is related to its association with the thyroid gland region and thyroid cartilage. Origin: oblique line of the lamina of thyroid cartilage. Insertion: inferior aspect of the greater horn and body of hyoid bone. Action: depression hyoid bone but elevated larynx. Innervation C1 and hypoglossal nerve CN12. Omohyoid. The omohyoid muscle is a very uniquely shaped muscle of the neck. It forms an obtuse tree-like shape from its origin point to its insertion point. The prefix almost translated to the shoulder region. Origin: superior belly, intermediate tendon, inferior belly, superior aspect of scapula. Insertion: superior belly, inferior aspect of body of hyoid bone. Inferior belly, intermediate tendon. Action: depresses hyoid bone and larynx. Innervation: the answer cervicalis formed via spinal nerves C1 and C3 within the cervical plexus. Sternothyroid. The prefix and suffix of this muscle conveys its origin and insertion points. respectively. Origin: this first rib and manubrium or sternum insertion the cartilage. Action: depresses hyoid bone and larynx innervation. The answer cervically is formed via spinal nerves C1 and C3. Suprahyoid. This muscle spans a longer distance than the sternothyroid muscle. Origin: sternum, superior aspect of manubrium, and posterior medial aspect of clavicle. Injection: inferior aspect of body, a higher bone. Action: depresses higher bone larynx. Innervation: the answer cervically is formed via spinal nerve C1 to C3 within the cervical plexus. Inferior edge of mandible, styloglossal, higher bone, pterocartilage, the larynx, pterogland, trachea, pterocartilage, larynx, scapula, the suprahyoid and infrahyoid muscle of the neck. Suprahyoid, genihyoid, digastric, melastylon, inframuscle, thyroid, umbra, and sternum, hyoid, sternocleidomastoid, right and left clavicle, sternum, thyroid gland, pterocartilage, larynx. Submandibular digastric triangle